Hello and welcome to the Learn Dota 2 League, Season 12, Week 7. NWA versus My Beautiful Dark Willow Twisted Fantasy, Game 2. In Game 1, well, to be honest with you, I think Willow Twisted Fantasy was pretty mentally checked out. And they really did not put up any sort of resistance to the NWA, despite them giving them a few opportunities. This time, let's see if the boys can rally back up, get their heads back in the game, and put on, right off into the sunset the right way.
Speaking of riding off into the sunset, spoilers, this is Swan Song. It's the last of these teams.
Both teams.
Unfortunately. So I made a little extra at the end of this, commemorating our fallen friends, maybe. Something like that.
It's true. Yeah, a look back. A look back in horror at the... that's a joke, but it kind of is a look back in horror for both of these guys. I will say, I can't imagine either of these teams are probably going to put this on the... Yeah, that's a great memory for me scrapbook.
Right.
Well, at least something to say. Notably, NWA. Banning at the Mars both games. Do not want to see that Ramanola on Mars, and frankly, I don't either. I totally agree with that. I think, well, no, I'll save it for the post game. You know what? When we do the eliminations, I'm going to do I'm going to say something specific about every single person on these lineups and everything. It's going to be fun. Immediately putting the Spirit Breaker back up.
Yep. That is your meta pick right now. You see him everywhere.
Certainly our answers to the Spirit Breaker in the pool. See who Willow Twisted Fantasy is able to come up with.
Disruptor.
Disruptor, yeah.
Dire team pick.
Disruptor.
Alright.
It's an SB counter, what can I tell you? Can't charge through... I think he can't charge the arena, but he can.
Yeah, we saw that in the last game, actually. We saw that interaction.
Mega messed up by Glimpse, pretty much always. Yep. Glimpse will, in fact, cancel his charge. So...
Glimpse will cancel his charge either way. He'll cancel it coming in, it'll cancel it going out. He needs a lot of global presence, and Disruptor kind of preys on that pretty heavily. It's really his biggest thing.
Radiant team pick.
Got a Night Stalker coming up as well. Or traditionally a Luke's pick. So it'll be interesting to see Ramanolo on the Night Stalker here.
Yep.
For multiple reasons.
Yeah, I think of Vex when I think of Night Stalker.
Right. I would say Luke's and Vex both, I would say, for sure. I think Luke's and Vex have a kind of similar hero pool in that position.
Alright, Nagaz thinking this one through.
Well, they have to.
This is
Nagaz
a very
cannot,
important one,
yeah, Nagaz cannot sleep on this game. This is their last potential possibility right in here.
Yep.
Of course, we know it's not going to happen because Gotham spoiled everything.
That's true.
Picking up the Windrunner here, another character that kind of has some answers on that play for her. I feel like it's two picks that you kind of have to answer, but on the other hand, two picks that don't mean much if they are answered.
Right.
I will say it's kind of hard to imagine Windrunner coexisting that well against a Night Stalker. It is kind of a who shoots first situation. Willow does not want to see that Alk again. I guess if you don't want to put forth the effort of answering it, then that would be the way to go about it.
I wonder if Grand Finals is a best of 5. I'll have to ask someone about that.
We'll see.
I hope so. I do like the old BO5.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, you would definitely know something about BO, Randy.
Got him.
Well, also thinking this over here.
Yeah, they certainly are.
again, Willow at this point is out. No matter what they do, they're out.
Yes.
So it's interesting to see exactly what they're going to be doing in this match.
You can play spoiler to Nagaz.
Right.
Basically, it's pretty much it.
Really, the one last parting shot for poor Gotham after one of the most banged up seasons anybody's probably ever had in Dota.
Yeah. I think it's worse than the Artesian Team Secret.
Could be. Could be. I know there was a in the LD2L Discord server. There's like a tribute to all the fallen teams, and you know what clip they used for the NWA?
Oh, what clip?
You know what clip they used for the NWA?
The black hole.
The black hole.
Oh, of course.
Forever. It's gonna be, like I said, dude. He's going to be talking with his therapist about that for the rest of his life.
He's gonna find you one day, dude.
I didn't do it. I wasn't. I didn't even clip it.
You got the blame on you.
I want to state for the record, I did not clip that. Actually, in the video, it was not the clip from the stream because the stream was in lower quality than that. No,
Wow.
camera panned differently. So Hollywood actually rewatched. I assume it was Hollywood rewatched that game and actually recorded that himself.
Shoutouts to Hollywood, friend of the
Yeah.
show.
I was on his show last week.
That's true. We're friends of his show as well.
Yeah, yeah. At least acquaintances of his show. Pen pals of his show.
Yeah.
10 seconds remaining.
I do wonder, you know, if you think about it, I do wonder who's going to be watching these matches, actually. Two guys that are kind of knocked out of the affairs. I'm
Right.
sure there's some people who just want to see everything going down. I mean, you know, these guys' friends want to come in and see how they got messed up, I assume.
Yeah. Completionists.
Yeah. Oh, there's some completionists out there in LD2L land. I think Kid Dynamite watches most of the games.
Yeah.
I think PVC watches most of the games.
That's good. Friend of the show, PVC Pipe.
Mr. Pipe.
Mr. Pipe, as we call him.
Yeah.
Sounds like a nickname of like a.
Oh
I don't
my
know,
god,
some-
Dark Willow's last match, they finally picked her.
Yeah, that's true. Now we just need like an Iceman Invoker, and we'll have all the classics.
Sure.
10
Anyway,
seconds
Mr. Pipe sounds like a nickname for like some side character in a mafia movie.
Yeah.
I think I've said this on cast before, but I'm just gonna say
Yeah.
it again. It's like you don't behave, you don't pay your dues, you're gonna see Mr. Pipe.
Yeah, Mr. Pipe is going to be coming to your house. And he's going to be bringing with his friend Mr. Gunn.
Surprisingly, Mr. Gunn uses a pipe. Mr. Pipe uses a gun. I don't know how that happened. Of course, he knows
I would
it.
assume Mr. Pipe and Mr. Gunn are just what one mobster calls his lead pipe and his gun.
Yeah.
Do you think mobsters carry around the same lead pipe everywhere, or do they just get new ones?
I don't know. It's a
It's
good
like
question.
my treasured pipe.
My trusty pipe.
Yeah.
My trusty Ogre Magi.
Of course. Coming back, dude. A few weeks Ogre Magi was off the menu, and now it's finally coming back.
Dire team pick.
Yeah.
With a Medusa, huh?
Okay. Certainly, Okay.
Manifest Destiny being like, why didn't you guys let me play Pause 1 last game? And Gotham saying, sorry, here you go, bro.
Here you go, buddy.
10 seconds
Gonna be picking their
This is,
3 last, presumably.
Our Luke's mid-hero, Medusa.
Yeah.
5 seconds remaining.
Oh my god. Dude, it really could be.
And
I would
Manifest
actually
Destiny
put
gets
that on the
one
same
bounty hunter
level.
or something.
And there you go, just what you wanted.
Ah, that is what I wanted. I want to see a show, you know? I do like watching Invoker.
He's got a pretty nasty lineup here, all things considered, to play with here. Dark Willow, Night Stalker, Disruptor. They can really turn a very large portion of the map into a do not go zone, and they definitely have Invoker who can make you not go there.
Yeah.
Naga's banning out the anti-mage.
Yep, has space to ban the AM out.
Dire team ban.
And definitely a desire to. Also, branding out the Terrorblade. No Tarot here.
TV plus Alacrity, pretty nasty.
Yep.
TB plus Disruptor who can keep you in place. Night Stalker can keep you in place. Willow can keep you in place.
10 seconds.
Night Stalker
Nasty.
can keep you silenced as well. Invoker can
5
blow up your
seconds
mana.
remaining.
Really, 4 heroes who are great at keeping you in
Radiant
place.
team picked.
No sniper. Likely gonna see a different Iper here, I feel like. Oh no, he's banned, never
Actually,
mind.
Yeah, he's banned.
Did not think he was for some reason, but
10 seconds.
If they're running Luke's mid again, we have no idea really what it's gonna be because we haven't
Right.
seen his mid pool in this tournament.
Remaining. Dire team pick.
the Shrek
Okay.
awkwardly turns and faces the camera there. Just kind of spins.
Well, Shrek is maybe one of the more all or nothing mids you'll see in Dota. He will either have like this amazing game and go like 21-0, or just
Hey Randy, you
Yeah,
know how a
flop.
Shrek is mid, apparently? What's One Runner doing? 3?
is this a 4-1 runner? Like the boss 1 runner?
Could be, I guess. Not a super fan of the 4-1 runner. But the NWA does not, it seems, care what I'm a fan for and not.
Yeah, that's true.
Willow taking all the time they have left, literally, for this last pick.
Yep.
And we got the Spectre, the lowest win
Okay.
rate hero
Yeah.
in the game, as they say.
And Immortal, yeah. But has been picked somewhat, I guess not somewhat commonly, a couple times, handful of times in LD2O.
It's true. To mix success sometimes. And I mean that in the most literal way possible. You know, usually when you say mixed success, you mean it doesn't really work all that well, but they're doing it. But this time what it means is sometimes it's been here and it's been ridiculously good, and sometimes it's had no effect on the game at all. And that's a ridiculous looking Dark Willow set. She looks like she's about to join a like a cult or something. Like one of those
Maybe she is.
yeah. Like one of those crazy on TV kind of cults. It's about to start sacrificing people's hearts or something. I like how the Night Stalker, he's just got a silly hat. Like
Yeah.
like deer skull, but like a super deer.
I like
Absolutely
your moves. I
perfect.
like your style.
All right. Very interesting. Very interesting. The previous match for Manifest Destiny was a victory as Medusa, funnily enough.
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
Prepare
This is an
for
interesting
battle.
one. Randy, you're a doctor, right?
Yeah, I'm a doctor. What, am I giving out a prognosis already? Whose lineup do you hate that much?
Let's say you've got two patients, right? One patient presents with the NWA's lineup, and one patient presents with the Willow Twisted Fantasy lineup. What patient do you think has a better long-term survival chance? Here we go. Who's going long? Who wins long?
It's you'd usually want to say Medusa, but Medusa really does not like Invoker and really does not like Disruptor.
Doesn't really like Willow either, or the Night Stalker for that matter. You know, one of
Yeah.
the worst things that can happen to you is when your BKB's down, you try to ult and you can't. And you silent, silent, silent. You know, Night Stalker.
It's more equal than maybe it usually would be with the Medusa lineup.
Right.
Medusa super doesn't like two of those people, doesn't really like another two, and just kind of is on parity with Spectre.
Right.
Throughout the eons,
Hi, Carl.
by many names, but my true name of power.
The battle begins.
Oh, fights at the runes today. Just 2 for 2 here, though NWA does take an early advantage with the vision. Blocking off the camp here and warding off.
Yep.
You know, Invoker's true name of power is Carl.
That's true.
Again, we actually have the same lineups. NWA, yep, in their finale here. Actually, having a very, well, maybe Roche Riders, that sort of situation here. I doubt they're gonna leave Medusa as a solo lane, but you know.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if Ogre stays here long term, but then, you know, I've been surprised before.
It could be Windrunner going down as well. I don't know if I would necessarily send the Windrunner down there. We're actually still hanging out up here.
Looking to put the thumb down on the Spectre a little bit.
Yeah, perhaps.
No coin for
Would not be the worst
Goose
idea.
can stand on her own there.
Is going to get a XP advantage here over the Spirit Breaker at least. Both supports kind of pulling out now.
Alright,
He's
there
actually
he
got
goes.
Fairly banged up down here.
Ogre
All
will
gone down.
come down, help his friend.
Yep. Fortunately, slightly misplaced Willow Maze there. It's not really a maze though, is it? It's kind of like a pentagram. Not a
It's a
pentagram.
pattern, ramble pattern.
A reverse pentagram, basically, like, or inverse, I guess. A bramble pattern. I can definitely tell you this much: the Spectre is going to have a lot to say about the Spirit Breaker here. It's going to be a lot more hard pressed to get a lot done, just because A, Spectre can just be anywhere to counter him, and B, she's going to be coming in with largely physical damage, and does not, outside of the Spectral Dagger, which is a pretty decent thing to have against him if nothing else, if you can get it off, does not really care about the debuffs. Now Willow herself is going to probably heavily care about the debuffs. Night Stalker as well. If Night Stalker sees Spirit Breaker charging up to him, Night Stalker can just kind of make him regret that charge. Same with Invoker, really. They definitely picked well against the Spirit Breaker this time. I would be very surprised if he was able to have the same sort of impact he did last round.
Right.
I'm gonna be bullying Leshrac here at the mid. What do you think of the Leshrac Invoker mid matchup?
I think Invoker wins out 60-40. Probably.
You gonna pay out those odds?
No.
Well, it's fine because it's way too late to bet anyway. This match was nearly a week
Yeah, that's
ago.
true. That's true. Not in the betting leagues anymore, come on.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, Spectre's Courier gonna go down here.
Has been killed.
Spectre,
Yep,
one of the
brother said.
heroes that is more dependent, I think, on early game items to actually be able to survive and succeed in lane. That is a decent objective taken there. Bigger than it looks on paper, that's for sure.
Definitely it's kind of stopping Medusa from being comfortable.
Yeah, they're
It's a little bit of a
consistently
concern.
keeping her at around half health and pretty low mana.
And rather low CS as well.
Yeah.
Every coin helps.
And with Medusa, like I said before, you know, Medusa does have a lot of a good ability to get a lot of CS in a short amount of time, but she needs a lot of CS. She needs way more gold than most people do to really start kicking it on. Of course, she has one of the highest caps out when she does. In a very literal
Sure,
sense,
but again, it's not a lineup that I think Medusa likes to play against.
Right, no, for sure. She's in a not the best way. Even with Spectre, there is going to be, you know, there's a decent chance we see a Spectre with the Diffusal Blade here, and that's just another thing really messing with the Medusa. Oh, I missed First Blood and the immediate Second Blood.
Mid wiping each other out.
I stopped to scratch my head and look what happened.
Huh.
That's
Should I mix my magics?
I don't know. That's that will happen to you with. Oh my god, I scratched my head again and look what happened. I gotta stop
Yeah,
scratching my
sure.
head every time I do somebody dies. Very violent.
It's a strange power you have.
Sorry, Snake Lady.
Yeah, Medusa is down. So, while losing Invoker is probably not the most ideal situation for a Willow Twisted Fantasy, losing Invoker at mid probably means a little bit more than losing the Leshrac, especially considering Leshrac is the one who got the First Blood legally.
Is under attack.
Losing Medusa is not great. So they might be able to take the Spectre here in response. Yeah.
Oh yeah, 17% chance. Oh man.
Try to bait out a. Oh, Winter actually dies here for that. I'm actually a little surprised. I thought after the Sunstrike mess, that was it for
Yeah, the Sunstrike
potential.
is really well placed actually.
Yep.
I mean,
Unfortunately, it did not actually land.
yeah, Winter was just kind of skirting around. Maybe expected it.
Right. Luth staying in the lane super low.
You know, if Winter didn't go out of her way to move kind of strangely there, that would have hit.
Medusa's still trailing the pack, though notably, unfortunately, second to lowest core is actually the Leshrac there. Spirit Breaker, top of his own team for last hits. Though if
Yeah.
nothing else, at the very least, Leshrac has he's done a good job keeping Invoker from getting that many last hits. Even if he has kind of missed a lot of them himself. He's basically traded his own life for Invokers, more or less. Luth fell asleep, maybe? Okay, there we go.
Fine. Don't worry about it.
Cat's at the
Waiting on the
door.
pool.
They're taking a look at this. Does not get anything to do with that power shot, unfortunately. He was trying to steal some creeps there, but Standa bowled a 7-10 split and went right down the middle, as they say. Spirit Breaker done with this lane, and now wants a different one. Specifically mid, where he's looking at a very low health Invoker.
He is.
Though Invoker might have seen this coming.
Yep.
And just, Cold Snaps walks right behind his own tower there, and Spirit Breaker has nowhere to go but away.
Just what I needed.
Disruptor is now arcane. Congratulations, Disruptor.
Not so fast.
Forcing an ult out Medusa here. Medusa had to get ult at 6. Not very popular right now, and it is for an
Never
obvious
ideal.
reason.
Oh,
And,
they
she
do
just
have,
had to get it.
They have a disruptor here.
They got 3v3. Though they're not going to be able to dive for the Medusa here. They're at least going to be able to take the Ogre for their troubles.
Yep.
Radiant's middle
Very
tower is
casually.
under attack.
Medusa actually opting not to leave during this time. She's still sticking with that creep wave.
Dire are scanning.
Yeah, she's just
And
gonna stick around. Guess she believes that the tower is gonna be able to just tank it for her, but it does waste the Willow shot. So there's that at least.
yep.
He's going to walk right over all the brambles in the maze, though.
Oh man.
Still ultimately actually gets away.
Yep. See, it works out.
Yeah. I thought for a second there, Viral just didn't, sorry, Manifest Destiny just didn't want to go into the bracket. But no, that actually did work out.
The biggest
Did
bait.
tricked them fairly well. Again, kind of preying on Willow.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Just kind of miscomming there, I think, to a degree. Seemed like Dark Willow didn't really want to dive for it, and if they had either made the decision to go or not go as a unit, then that would have gone a lot better. But you had two different ideas at the same time, and it's just two different ideas that couldn't possibly mix. On the other hand, that did give Invoker clearance to get a minus.
Under attack.
Yes. Because, you know, always good.
Luth appears to have retired to the jungle, basically. Check out that net worth chart. Looks a little better for the Radiant than the last hits chart did, though not by terribly much. Shrek has clawed his way back up the charts, is now the third most valuable core in the game, so the second least valuable. One notable thing, actually, Didge nearly has the same net worth there on the Windrunner as Medusa has.
That's a bit unfortunate.
It does seem to me like Windrunner has, yeah, just been getting a few casual last hits here, so that is part of it. It's going to happen to you as Windrunner, basically, no matter what you do, especially when you have a Spirit Breaker who's going to be out sometimes. Going to be charging the Spectre here. Spectre looking very dead.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, coming in for
oh,
a
the
pretty good
brambles.
save.
Okay. Rather sick.
Oh, the Willow stun gets Luke's too.
Okay.
Two guys who usually lane together having a bit of a communication fall apart there. Had that not happened, that probably would have been a dead Spectre, unfortunately for them.
And Buyer Dark Willow staked in her there.
Yeah, that's your
Saved her life.
stand-in too. I like how
Yeah.
Dark Willow's team, the person who picked Dark Willow for Dark Willow is a stand-in.
Yeah.
There's something funny about that.
Dire's top tower is
Still
under
going for the Spectre here again. What's with the pause ones
Yeah,
this game,
sure.
man? They're just crazy. Spearburger, no bulldoze here.
is under attack.
Actually in a bit of trouble. Booker coming in from behind, but man, he does not like what
Oh
he's
my-
running into. He's just
Radiant's
getting
bottom tower
knocked
is
over.
under attack.
Holy
Spectre
dude.
picking up the blame mail there. Very classic Spectre for you. Holding in.
On current
So,
gold for some reason.
And why'd that happen? The most useless statistic probably in the entire game.
Literally the most useless one. There's fantasy points, so. it's really
Yeah, I
saying
guess
something.
that's true. I would put it above fantasy points, but not by much. It tells you something pertinent.
Why can't you get fantasy points in like some random game full of like like pub
There you go.
Russians? Like you can
You
literally
wanna
get
know?
this in any Dota game. You could literally go to like a Herald game and get fantasy points.
If you want to know who's getting the most fantasy points here, it's Lestrak. Medusa way below anybody else. We got some SV action going on here.
Dire
Yeah, we sure
Looking for
do.
Medusa, they found her.
They're finding Medusa.
And she
Oh
just
my
goes down in
God.
seconds flat. Fortunately, Dark Willow goes down in response, but that's certainly not an equal trade. I mean, Dark Willow the hero, not Dark Willow the team. We're going to
Yeah,
get the Windrunner next. She's getting sent
Tough ball.
into everybody here.
Dire's
And just picked apart.
attack.
Oh, Shrek likely going to pick up the,
Oh.
yep, picks up the Disruptor there, but unfortunately, Spectre just eats him.
Tower is under attack.
Yep.
Not a great guy to be casually eating you at the 13 minutes in the game. Not super great. Spectre and Spearbreaker are going to run into each other here. That was, that could have been timed a little better, I think.
That's fine, don't worry about it. He was going for comedic timing.
Yeah.
Denied.
Gotham doesn't want to make bracket either. Made the conscious decision to not get on the bracket.
Yeah.
It's a very wacky series here. So there's that at least. You know, even if maybe not everybody's going to be taking this series 100% seriously, at least they're going to be taking it 100% funny.
Yeah. Oh, what's the point of Dota 2 in the end, you know? It's have fun.
Yeah, you play to have fun, which is why you play exclusively all random in Russia now.
Yeah, that's true. You think I play that to win? Nah.
Yeah, of course. It's really the most power gaming move you can have there, I think.
Oh man, poor Didge.
Yep, just getting smashed to pieces there.
Oh, wait.
Though Iceman is going to be going down with them. Oh, here comes a
Oh my.
fear bomb. It doesn't
Still
actually
alive.
hit anybody, but it certainly has a high impact.
Get him.
Oh, the
He's so
last
close to the cold snap.
The last second cold snap, it was almost so cool. He's gonna eat Spirit Breaker now. Finally going down after like a million hours. Then he tips him. He tips him? Bro, you died for no reason. What's that about? Don't tip him, he did his job. He got you, that's a better trade for him. Come on now, Iceman.
True, but the cold snap was cool.
It was a cool.
Disparage cool plays.
Get it?
just
Get
'cause
it?
They don't work.
Cool snap. Haha.
Yeah, it's just cool. It was a very cool snap.
Yeah, but see, that'd be like you tip himself, right? Not
Right,
tip
right.
Spirit Breaker. It wasn't Spirit Breaker's fault he got cold snapped. I mean, in a way it was, I guess. But Spectre not actually bringing in something here. I believe that's going to be the end of a Yasha.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
The Spectre's done. You can definitely tell the impact. Up here comes a Sunstrike. More of a Moonstrike,
man.
really. You can really tell the impact Disruptor's having on this whole scenario. You know, whenever Willow. Not to say Disruptor's having no impact, but whenever Spirit Breaker sees Willow in the area, he just immediately gets the hell out of there.
Yeah.
Spectre thinking about coming in here. Does make it in the end, but it's just the hesitation, unfortunately, really did not play any favors to Luth here.
Has fallen.
He's gonna get a Spectral Dagger on the Shrek. That's all he's gonna get.
Radiant's bottom
Oh,
tower
maybe,
is under
actually.
Oh man, the glints. Looking dead.
And he's gonna Yule's the Spectre up, but nothing more than that. Down goes the Shrek.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Iceman harassing Medusa trying to farm. She screams at him. Still the lowest net worth core in the entire server, unfortunately for her.
This is true.
And Gotham just gonna
Oh.
tunnel right after
No,
Iceman
can't
here.
keep getting away with it. Oh my god.
Actually did not have Bulldoze for himself that time, I don't think. He's in jail. Looking for a way out and he gets it.
He gets away out, yeah. Alright.
Oh, that's a really good shackle.
That is a good shackle.
Under attack.
Windrunner takes out two, basically.
Is under attack.
Iceman tipping Gotham again. Spectre getting edging on that Manta style here.
Dire's structures are fortified.
Yeah.
Randy, you're a doctor, right?
Yeah, I'm a doctor.
Not so winded now.
If you had a patient coming in with the symptom just can't quite seem to catch Invoker in the best way, what would you prescribe?
I don't know, Rod of Atos, I guess.
Yeah, there you go. If you're a Spirit Breaker, just buy the Atos. If you're Luke, just die very casually here. He's
I
gonna
gotta
force
buy
out a
it on,
Disruptor ult at least.
on Ogre Windrunner instead.
Actually, not gonna get Luke's here. That Yul's really came in clutch for him there. Actually, gonna get Iceman instead.
Oh, no.
Turned around very
That's
badly for them. Again, these Yules, both games, Yules become being a very big problem for Willow Twisted Fantasy. Just do not have much to do about it. And somebody goes into a tornado, they are just safe. Willow kind of split into 3 parts here. Gonna go in on the Spectre. This ain't good.
Just have to Blade Mill out.
Yeah,
But
Blade Meal is out.
okay.
Oh, Fear Bomb. Fear Bomb's gonna get
that is super
the
sick.
Leshrac killed. Yep, Spectral Dagger finishes a dub. Spearbreaker charges back in. This is what he wanted to find, though.
Oh my
Spectre
God.
using that ult to very well. Good effect there.
One Fear Bomb can turn a simple kill on Spectre into this.
Well, turn a simple kill on Leshrac that turned into a kill on Invoker that turned into a kill on Spectre into that.
Well, yeah, of course.
Wasn't all that simple if you think about it, but you know.
Radiant's bottom
Ogre Magi smoking away. Ramonolo just gonna beat up this tower here. We're seeing a pretty good performance, I think, from the Ramonolo on the Night Stalker here. Which again, well, we'll talk about it.
Yeah. Getting some fun after action reports.
Yeah, it's gonna be a long one.
Forward to it.
Medusa just getting cut out again. I'm just having to scream.
It's
Disruptor
gonna
getting
remain in
second.
place after the scream. That's a little.
Yeah.
Oh, that's troublesome.
Gonna die here very casually to the 3 and
Yeah.
under club. Lesh is going to pick up the Disruptor for it, but again, that's not an equal trade by anyone's
That's
margin.
such a rough piece of lineup.
Looks like they're gonna get the Night Stalker for this at least. That Invoker really has nothing to say about it. Might run over the Willow here as well.
Oh yeah.
Shrek gonna stun her out of the TP. 3 and under club does get Medusa. They do all die in sequence for it, but they actually ended up getting more gold for that 1 kill. They cost to the to overall. Spearbreaker is just gonna get bullied by the Invoker here, as Lush takes the tower out.
Has fallen.
Yep.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Manta's up on the Spectre. It's gonna make life harder for some of those folks, especially Spearbreaker actually. You know, one thing Spearbreaker does not like much is illusions, especially illusions of pretty similar damage to the original. You know.
Yep.
Going to be doing 2/3, which with the passive, which they do get, is nothing quite to sneeze at. She's looking at him here. A lot of people looking at him here.
Certainly are.
Though he does have vision on the area. Swinging a miss on the Spectral Dagger. She can hold for him.
Charge out. I'm guessing.
You know, likely.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
I like the 2 people kind of stuck in a bad spot on both sides of the map here. Shadowblade, that's his Shadowblade. He's just gonna sneak out rather.
Yep.
Luth with the Alacrity. Teleport's going in on top. Willow just going to completely eat the Ogre Magi here. Spectre ult falls in. Spectre not opting to actually show though. Oh, Spectre's showing at the last possible second actually.
Yep.
Looking for something here, but is not finding anybody. They're just a little too fast getting away here.
Oh, good Sunstrike.
SV, it's nighttime.
Oh, and
Night
Lesh is
Stalker,
not in a
o'clock,
nice place.
Leshrac in the Disruptor arena, just completely eating it. Spearbreaker actually had to stay bot that whole time, only just now is able to move up here. Actually, unintentionally bowled over some Medusa farm, I think.
It's always said.
Radiant's top tower is under attack. Radiant structures are fortified.
Dark Willow gonna knock down, well, both the hero and the team. Gonna knock down the T1 for Radiant here.
Yep.
Radiant's top tower has fallen. Radiant's top
Medusa
tower
finished
is
her
under
own
attack.
Manta style. Considerably worse timing than the Spectre, though notably, she has been able to farm for quite a while without any real
Radiant's top
opposition.
tower is under attack.
They have not been provoking her for a while, though that might change in a second here. She did walk under vision, though Ogre Magi going to unintentionally sort of reveal what's going on here. Just
Messed with
trying
a little
to
bit.
distract. Ultimately likely going to end up taking the gank, as they say.
Oh yeah.
Going to die for Medusa here straight. No, Medusa did not actually get out. Medusa actually is going to go right in here.
Oh god, the winds are blowing.
Yep, we have that annoying Windrunner shard. Gonna run over Ramonolo here. Fear Bomb on the Shrek. He's out of it. Maybe he's out of it? Oh my god!
He's alive.
Actually turning around, balling up, going back in the fight. Windrunner getting cut down by the Spectre there. Disruptor went down off sides. And Willow Twisted Fantasy makes a swift retreat here.
Yeah.
Again, that Yules is such a problem for Willow Twisted Fantasy. It seems like it's just such a big deal for them. Every time somebody Yules, they just live. Voker not being personally present for that fight did not help matters greatly for them. He's actually going right for the Lincolns there. Just doesn't want to get charged or ulted by the Spirit Breaker, or ulted by the Windrunner either, likely.
I'll bring some attention to the Spectre build actually. She's going Mantis, Scotty, and then probably Ags.
Right.
So like, Ags onto someone, and then Mantis, Scotty them to death.
Right.
Radiant's courier.
rather
Gotham's
than this
courier
one.
eaten by a bunch of jungle creeps that he pissed off. That had a Crystallis in it! Oh man, that
The rest
sucks!
of the Silver Edge.
That sucks!
Yeah.
That's miserable.
Yeah,
2
as I said,
minutes.
very intriguing take on the new Spectre.
Just stop the Spirit Breaker right in his tracks here. But without
yeah.
any vision, they can't actually get the kill. Night Stalker immediately saying, you know, I know what the cure for that is, getting some dust. Gonna find the Ogre here.
Certainly will.
Patience,
Yeah.
unfortunately, just hiding out there. Just not in the best position. Getting completely eaten.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Feels like they don't have a lot to do to stop this sort of situation except just Glyph.
Structures are fortified.
Offensive Glyph comes in response. And here's that annoying Windrunner shard. But it's not quite enough to stop the push.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
You actually have a push coming back right at them at top. Interesting to see exactly what they do about this. Looks like they
Dire's top tower is under
bait the
attack.
TP in. This isn't good. Medusa really in the worst imaginable spot. Gonna lose all her mana and get eaten. It's in the Disruptor ult, in the
Alright. Rather
Dark
sad.
Willow ult. Man, that was nasty. Dude just asking you to be careful.
I really
Fight
thought that
me.
was a GG for a second.
That would be funny. Spectre trying to take a pretty commanding net worth lead here. Up about 4k on Medusa, likely going to be 5k at the end of this sequence here.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Is now, as predicted, going into that Ags.
Dire's middle tower
NWA
is
looking
under
to split off here. Looks hanging out in the jungle here. They actually are about to run into each other.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Got to split up in the Dark Willow camp, though.
Yeah.
As, well, there's that Lincoln's coming in for really the first time.
Nice man, trying to kind of lead Leshrac into his own team here.
Right. Gonna ignore the Ogre for the Spectre just completely devour. Interesting little sequence.
The wouldn't stop anything more from happening there, unfortunately.
Impurity's gonna tithe. Paladin Sword for the Spectre. That's pretty big stuff.
Yep.
Not the biggest T3 item for her, but certainly pretty big. And speaking of certainly pretty big, Elven Tunic up for the Medusa as well. Both Pause 1's getting a pretty good T3. And there you go, Spearbreaker Silver Edge coming in. Wonder if he would have, wonder if that fight would have gone a little better for them if that happened, though. Immediately another courier dies. Seems like this is courier hell.
Yeah. Courier Union's gonna be pissed.
Yeah. Oh, it's just a fantasy. Looking to do Roche while Invoker. Sort of bluffs like they're going to be pushing out here. They are walking into no vision doing this, basically.
Radiant are scanning.
They have scanned out the Roche, but it's a little too late at this point. Spectre picking up the Aegis. First Roche of the game.
Certainly is.
And a double damage to boot. That's not a great sign. That's what you don't want to be having is a 6v5 before Medusa's really ready to fight. You know, it's even worse than that. 6v5 and the guy with 2 lies has double damage, and Medusa has a ceremonial robe in her backpack for some reason. Just gonna swap that in when she's ulting specifically, no other time, I guess? I don't know.
Maybe. Could be. That sounds a little. Oh, okay.
NWA.
I was gonna say that sounds a little next level, but
A few folks at NWA were just hanging out alone up here, but ultimately TP'd out before much harm came to them. They do have vision. Looking that way. Spearbreaker just gonna knock out the bot T1, if nothing else. While the not NWA, but Willow for some fantasy. Gonna be clearing out the last tower outside the base here.
yep.
Luth very slowly, ominously, trudging up to the tower here.
I'll tear it down. The offensive glyph. The winds will attempt to blow them out.
Not to much avail. NWA coming, converging in on the Dire bot T2. As Dire kind of splits off.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
One lucky thing about the Spectre is that Spectre can always reliably, as long as she has ult anyway, always reliably pop out to deal with any sort of backdoor you got, so she is kind of good against splitting. Spearbreaker going to be coming in for the supports here. Spectre showing up in response. Wants to have a little bit of fun here. Gonna start out with the Lukes, but that Leshrac BKB saves a lot of heat on him. Now it's actually Luth in the spot of trouble here. How to likely pop Aegis, so it's at least going to knock out Medusa's entire mana pool. But they can't kill Spectre.
Yeah, they certainly can't.
They're having such a hard time. They killed Medusa before they even got the Aegis on Spectre, in fact.
Oh man.
That's not good. Luth is godlike. That's not good either. Nobody. Oh, Windrunner has buyback. What's she gonna do alone? Spearbreaker trying to bowl in here. He gets many prisoners as he can. Or trying to take no prisoners best he can.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
They do have a glyph, again, somehow. Not really sure how Radiant has another glyph already, but
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
Who knows?
Spectre and Invoker just gonna casually take the first set of racks here at mid.
Radiant's middle barracks.
Nobody really able to stop this at all. This is really not what you want to have happen to you as a Medusa lineup, I can tell you that much. This is not done here. Gonna cycle right down to bot, take this T3. Spearbreaker charging in, he's got a lot to get through though. Ultimately, he does not make it. Gonna ult at least. Likely, yep. Finally popped that Aegis here.
Yep.
Got a lot of stuff out to cover the retreat.
Okay, good fear bomb. Pretty much just gonna make that riskless.
Yep. Spectre full axe coming in, I believe. Yep. So there's that. Spirit Breaker gonna be a little trouble sometimes when he goes out like this. If oh, this is not good for Disruptor. He's gonna very casually, instantly die, basically.
Invisibility.
Spirit Breaker immediately just heading back to bot. Willow picks up the Ags here. Ags and the Shard, actually. Well, with the Ags is going to be very good for their offensive pushing ability. They already have quite a lot of push, and that's going to definitely add to it. Especially with that Alacrity. You know, some very good options to knock down towers here. Basically everybody can do it to some degree, except Night Stalker for the most part. Medusa has fallen to 3rd place overall net worth. Spectre's gonna very casually eat the Ogre Magi here.
Yep.
Very commanding announcement that the Ags is here. If Windrunner hadn't stopped to use her shard, she would have actually probably been dead here, funnily enough. And not even because of the shard itself, but rather because of the fact that it dodged the tornado unintentionally.
Yep.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is under
NWA going to take a T2 at top while losing a T3 at bot. Windrunner going to delay game as long as humanly possible.
Yep.
But not quite long enough. Tower does go down. Luth immediately just starts eating racks. There is some dissension in the ranks about which racks to specifically go for.
Okay.
What do Spectre just jump on? I don't think it seems. Fear Bomb on the Medusa there, basically alone. Spear Breaker just getting completely eaten there. It's gonna be down for a long time. It's bad news if you're a Medusa fan, certainly. Range Rex goes down bot. Look at they're gonna stay for the melee Rex. Though the Windrunner shard
The winds.
just make that as annoying as humanly possible.
Continue to slow siege here.
Yep. Finally, the Rex ultimately going down. After what feels like forever. They just straight up rotate top. It's a good Demolition Crew sort of style of gameplay here for Willow Twisted Fantasy. Just knocking down every tower in their path. You know, not really wanting to fight even, just trying to play keep away as they just break things down. Got a mind breaker.
Draw the play out on the map. He says, you know, go back, you know, pull back to top lane, get the megas.
Right. Rush actually coming up fairly soon. Let's see. Minute 46, not that bad. Getting a leveler just to make this funny. Things weren't already bad enough, so now we gotta give Spectre a leveler. Ocelot claims that the leveler should be moved up a tier. What do you think?
I think it should just be not in the game.
Hey, that could also
honestly,
be
but-
good. Poor Night Stalker just gonna get completely clowned
yeah.
out there. Luth diving out for the supports here. Actually bites off a little more than he can chew. He's very dead. That's a godlike.
concerning.
Radiant's middle tower is under
Roche
attack.
is gonna be up soon too.
Every coin helps.
Definitely, I hate to say it, a little greed, I think, on the part of Luth there. Just thought he was going to be able to get away with anything. That's not really the case. And Medusa might be down, but you can't say she's out for sure.
Right. Especially Lesh is certainly not out.
Right. Penta Edge Sword coming up. Low Twisted Fantasy. You know what I would do with a leveler, actually, since Willow's sitting on the Philosopher's Stone. I would give the leveler to her.
With the eggs, yeah, it could be pretty
Yeah.
good.
Spectre doesn't really need more. I could definitely help Willow. Gonna very casually knock down the Ogre here with the support club. Yep, Willow and Disruptor combined really just have a very good answer, though. They're gonna lose Disruptor for their troubles.
Yeah.
Shrek's
so-
gonna hate to say it again, very casually hit them. It feels like a game of a lot of very 0 or 100 to 0 sort of situations coming up very frequently here. I think they want to get a little revenge on Shrek, at least considering it pretty strongly. This could be concerning. Nope. Actually gonna jump the Medusa there. Everyone's gathering up for Roche. Luth died and no longer wants to be doing that, certainly.
Radiant are scanning.
Gonna find the Spirit Breaker there, though Luth does not personally have detection for him, though. Ramanolo barely missing out with his own.
Yeah.
They're gonna waste the charge away.
Yep.
He is gonna be
So-
gone for a little while.
Uses that eggs on him, forces him out. Opens up Roche.
Yep. He is walking back towards it, but no, Willow is really setting up a no-go zone for them. Medusa's just going to get as many T4 items as she wants while this happens.
Sucker. Smart arena.
Yep.
Roshan has fallen to the dark.
Picks up the shard as well.
Instantly, as soon as they get the Aegis, they go.
Yep. Well, holding on to the shard for the moment. Fear Bomb on the Medusa. Knocks her out of the fight. Here comes Cataclysm,
man, the
though
Cataclysm.
it's no one. Hush in the jail here. Victor thinks about going on him. Ultimately decides, now I'll just send the illusions to do the job. And
Man,
down he
that's so
goes.
cool.
Illusions are certainly enough. You're quieting the magic of the Spear Breaker there. He's getting pretty beat up for his troubles.
Flesh by
Down he goes.
going all in.
Yep. Medusa kind of all alone here. We do have buybacks on the Radiant. They're taking their sweet time actually showing. Medusa getting pounded on here, and down she goes. No buyback on her.
Super all in.
Yep. Spearbreaker gets a charge, hits basically everybody on it. Luth can't quite decide who he wants to go for. He's kind of going back and forth there. Ultimately decides that Spearbreaker.
As they just.
Aegis is going to go down, so is
Oh,
Spearbreaker
and the
though.
Invoker.
And so is the Lukes.
Good tornado.
Winrunner is completely screwed here, and
That's it.
GG. That's
Yeah.
a bit of a random time to be calling that. Okay.
Well, they did just get wiped after 2 buybacks.
Yeah, that's true. They threw everything they had at them there, and it wasn't quite it. And with that, the Willow Twisted Fantasy spoils out Nagaz' hope, making the charts. And that is the season for both of these teams.
Yeah.
Before we get into the long stuff, let's start with the analysis. It's definitely a better game for Willow Twisted Fantasy. I think there was still a little bit of, I think they were still a little bit off their game. Maybe the stand in there had a bit to do with that. Hard to say. Definitely, I feel like still a little bit off their game, though. This time around, it felt like they had a very definitive plan. They knew exactly what they wanted to do, both with the lineup and their execution, and they actually were able to pull it off. Well,
Yep.
the NWA execution felt, on the other hand, a little bit more confused. Last round was all execution, just both ways. NWA had the most ideal possible execution, and Willow Twisted Fantasy had, unfortunately for them, basically the worst possible execution. And that was exactly what NWA needed to win. If they had even marginally better execution than that, I don't think they had a path. Unfortunately, but that's going to happen sometimes. I thought they were able to answer the Spirit Breaker really well this game. They weren't able to answer the Yules very well, but they were able to answer the Spirit Breaker. They were able to write off Luke's for a long time. He actually was able to turn it around, which is kind of rare for a Leshrac. Almost sort of still playing his possibly role there with things like the Eternal Shroud. One thing both teams definitely sorely missing there is somebody actually tanky. I mean, Willow Twisted Fantasy had Spectre, but that's not exactly somebody you want to be taking all the heat for you. It's really the closest thing they had. And Spirit Breaker has Bulldoze, but this game, that doesn't mean much. This game, that means Willow's not going to be good at dealing with you, and some of the Invoker tricks aren't going to work, but that's basically it. Of course, you also have to Bulldoze in light of a lot of silence and a lot of AoE silence to boot, and a lot of mana breaks, so,
And the Fear Bomb, yeah.
And the Fear Bomb, yeah. They had a lot of good answers to the Spirit Breaker this game. Running it back, probably not the play, to be honest with you. And again, it felt like we finally kind of had, after all this season, we kind of had Manifest Destiny on the sort of hero he likes to play, the sort of role he likes to play. But unfortunately, this game, he just wasn't able to buy enough time for himself there. And he kind of got just drafted out here.
Yep.
Anything to add to that?
Not much. I'm just thinking of how OD would have worked in this lineup rather than SB, but maybe it was banned.
Yeah, they banned him in the first round. Round there. So and Willow banned him. So
makes sense.
So here's the final rundown. The end of the line for both of these guys. Start out with Nagaz as a unit. Nagaz fell apart this season. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah.
How did you describe it again? You used some very specific language.
I said I did say that it felt like a team that all hated each other.
Right. Yep.
I don't think they all hate each other. I think most of the hate is directed at certain players.
Right. Well, let's just say it like this.
I only have the locker room gossip, so I don't know
this
for
is
sure.
locker room talk. I mean, it's pretty close locker room talk, at least to the source. The idea I get is that Manifest Destiny was not a fan of being picked sort of early game focused ones like NWA drafted most of the season. He likes to be he wants to be the Lambert type. He wants to be the super late game. I'm gonna rule the world at 50 minutes types of guys, right?
Right.
So, I feel he had some heat coming on. He had some people were saying burnout issues, like a lot of the people on BBC were talking about burnout issues. I don't think it's a burnout issue in a certain light. If you want to talk about like a really harsh schedule as far as scrims go, LDR had a very harsh schedule as far as scrims go, but LDR did something interesting with these scrims, which is do a lot of changes. I think that's what the NWA really needed here as a team in this season. I think it's the biggest thing they could have done. They could have changed, right?
Hey, they did change this week.
Yeah, they did change this week. When things weren't working, I think change was the solution, and they did change sometimes, but it seems like they never committed to it, and it was always sort of half-hearted sort of ideas anyway, like putting Manifest Destiny on the goddamn techies, for example.
Yeah.
I felt like, LDR did a great job of adapting and evolving. When things didn't work, they changed over, right? When NWA didn't work out, it felt like they just kind of kept just bashing their head against the brick wall, and eventually they bled out, and it's very unfortunate for them. I felt like they were a very good contender for this whole tournament. You know, if there are some good things to take out of it, they had a very impressive offlane. I think even now, even still looking at them not going into the bracket, I think it's the best offlane, perhaps, in the entire lineup. On one hand, Big Boy LaCroix very close to the conversation with Luke. So I don't really
Right, but that
think
offlane hasn't really been
yeah.
shown that well the last few weeks.
I think S Culture isn't quite on the same level as Gotham. I think maybe that's where the falling down in the Sparta offlane is. And Sparta, really the only one that's that close as a result. Really good 3, really good 4. I think Gotham as 4 is really in a very strong role for himself. I think he's historically mostly played carry, but I think he, excuse me, he's had a very good report of himself on 4 in this season. I think
Yeah.
he's sort of found his place, right?
I mean, just look at how often the OD gets banned against him.
Right. Yeah. So I think there are some things that went really well for them. I think there are some things that went really poorly for them. If I had to give an overall piece of advice for next season, it is change. When it doesn't work, you seek the change out, right? The scrim schedule, it's harsh, but it can definitely be good if you're experimenting with it, if you're using them for good. But I felt like they were just kind of using them to say, look, we had the most scrims in the league, more than anything.
Yeah.
I think that's really where you get sort of the start of the hostilities here. And there were some experiments with it, but seemed like every time an experiment happened, I don't know, the team just wasn't really down with it. I don't know. Still, yeah. Ultimately, put 5 robots on that have this skill set in the same situation, I think it actually does improve. Definitely the other lesson to take is definitely diplomacy skills here. To be honest with you, I just don't think... I think the issue started off with, I don't think Manifest Destiny wanted to be here. I think Manifest Destiny probably wanted to be on Lich with all his buddies.
Yeah.
If I had to guess. But, neither here nor there. So, I guess this little drafting for you. Luke's. Starting off with Luke's here, just going to go in the order they are in this game. Luke's, it's hard to say much about you. It's not good. You had a very good season overall, in spite of everything. Definitely, even now, probably the best boss 3 overall as far as the regulars. I would say Vex might be just a hair above you, but he's not far. He's not far. It's certainly in contention. If it's a fight between the two, it's certainly a fair fight, I think. You've got some pretty good itemization. You got a pretty good pool. Definitely playing flexibly. He has the pause 3 mentality. All I can say to Luke's, it's nothing useful. Keep doing what you're doing. It's working. I think it's hard to say in any regard. Aside from maybe personal issues, if he's getting involved with that, it's hard to say from any regard it's Luke's fault things went down like this, right?
Right.
Gotham, like I said, pause 4, you found your place. You are definitely the pause 4 to look at in the league, I think. It's you and Dogtown, and Dogtown is serious business, so to be in the same breath as Dogtown, I put him above Gotham. It's just a hair. It's just so thin. Razor thin margin, right? Something big. Next season, aim for that spot again, because this is where you really shine. I thought you had a you did overall very good job in this season. Some things in your pool need work, like Enigma, but but aside from that, just the awareness, just the way you play the 4, really making yourself, as Randy put it in Game 1, just making yourself such a problem. Again, very banner year. The problem is, with the NWA, I feel like it's the drafting. Been a coach, or not a coach, been a captain at least twice in a row. I feel like, but the drafting, I feel like it's been not so great. Both in terms of putting together cohesive teams, and in terms of putting together a team that your guys actually want to play. Two very different skills, and I think
Right.
both of them could use some work on the NWA perspective. One thing in particular that I felt, especially early on, very strong adherence to the meta. That's not necessarily always going to work, right? Meta is meta for a reason, but on the other hand, meta isn't every game for a reason, To that end, I think feeling out your players, trying to feel out their pool earlier will be better, and trying to. I think maybe part of the scrim was he was trying to hammer them into the mold he had in line, trying to hammer some heroes into everybody's pool to try and
Right,
get the
yeah.
team he wanted up. That that's not really it if they don't want
Just
to go
caused
along with it.
friction, really.
Yeah, trying to hammer to the
Allegedly.
mold, it just did not really. I mean, even if it caused fiction allegedly, but even if you want to take the allegedly out of the picture, right? Even if you want to pretend it's all sunshine and rainbows and a lot of blown up stuff, and hey, there are some rumor and innuendos I've heard that ended up being kind of exaggerated, not really reality, right? Um, but even if you take that out of the equation, I think trying to fit everybody into the mold, it just really didn't work out. It probably would have been better to try and focus more on the leading into the strengths, leaning on what the people wanted to play, even if it's not ideal, because it's a Learn Dota 2 league, right? I mean, this is where you're going to be to Learn Dota 2. If you want to go to TI, that's a great strategy, but this is not TI. This ain't TI. Didge, on the other hand, Gotham, I mentioned, and Luke's really the same. You found your place, stay there. Didge, I'm gonna say, maybe keep a looking. Did not, did not show us,
Don't like the Digimon?
did not show us great success in the as the mid. I don't feel like the pool was fairly limited. The actual like impact on the games tended to be fairly negligible. One thing I realized, like Kid Dynamite was like, yeah, I banned 2 heroes, and that's Digi's entire pool. What's he gonna do? And he was right. He really did just ban out the entire Dig pool,
Yeah.
and as a result, it really, really put the brakes on him here. I feel like if you want to continue mid, you can do it. It is going to be a hard path. I would definitely recommend shopping around, seeing how you fare in some of the other lanes, and going from there. Most of all, try to pick up at least 1 or 2 more guys. Having pretty much a 2-man pool, it did not work out great for you here. Did not work out great for you in this season overall. Manifest Destiny. The big thing I would say to Manifest Destiny, it's a two-way street, brother. On one hand, you got a lot of short ends on the stick. You got picked a lot of heroes with the expectation to go for a playstyle you just don't go for. On the other hand, early communication, I feel like, and often communication, could have done a lot to help you out here. It seems to me, from what I know about this situation, that you didn't really start getting that vocal about how you felt about things for a little while until the defeat started rolling in. That's
Right.
wrong. You don't talk about this when it starts going wrong because people are going to take it personally. You talk about it when it's going right. You say, I don't feel comfortable here. You move off you move off what's going on and you rotate somewhere else. I wonder how
Yeah.
this whole situation would have gone. Perhaps if we had say him playing 2 and Nidge rolling 1. Wonder if things would have been different. Hard to say. Peaches. Um, what can I say to Peaches besides? I think you played 2 heroes this season. Did Peaches ever play anything but just Jakiro and Ogre?
I'm not sure, maybe.
If Peaches did, it'd have to be like a one-off sort of thing.
Yeah, that's fine. 5 is your hero that can get away with being not as versatile, perhaps.
Perhaps, yeah. You're going to be picked early. Rarely are you going to be that banned out. I'll tell you this much. As a 5, on one hand, you can't afford to be less versatile as far as avoiding bans go, but I feel like as far as getting good plays in, you want to have a big pool. Being able to draft somebody so you can say, I want this benefit, I want that benefit. Being able to draft 5s for a benefit is a nice luxury to have as a captain, as a drafter, and I feel like leaning into that a little more Bring in some more guys into your roster. There's a lot of fairly easy fights, you know. CM, that's a fairly simple, fairly easy hero, right? It's not going to take you long to learn CM, and it is a very invaluable pick for your pool. That passive alone can change a lot, especially earlier on in the game, and especially for some certain heroes. You know, some other examples, Lion. Lion, another fairly simple one, fairly high game impact. You know, having a little bit more spice in your life, I think, could do you some good, right?
As far as playstyle goes, I think it's the old classic, you know, selfless pos 5 playstyle.
Right.
Tanks a lot of ganks, doesn't really buy much aside from wards.
Almost a little step for almost to Naga's detriment this season, I kind of felt like.
I
It
wouldn't
got to the
feel
point.
uncomfortable in a lane with Pages.
It got to the
But,
point that I felt like Pages was taking ganks that weren't really going to actually be checks cashed anyway, if that makes sense. You know,
Right.
being a little overly selfless. He can be a touch
Has
greasy, a pinch greasy.
Has the idea of how pos 5 works.
Right,
but
certainly, yeah. Certainly. Has the it for pos 5, I think. So. And yeah, that's basically the long and short of NWA. Anything to say about any of these guys before we move on?
No, nothing more than what you said. Gotham, friend of the show, big fan.
Yeah. Alright, on the other hand, we have My Beautiful Dark Willow Twisted Fantasy. And, not so beautiful season they had. Probably the most dramatic fall of any of the teams, to be honest with you.
Yeah, if you don't count Radiant Straits, right?
Well, honestly, I do count Radiant Straits.
Playoffs, yeah.
I do kind of count Radiant Straits in that. I do not feel like Radiant Straits fell as far as Willow Twisted Fantasy did. They started out a team that showed us some very, very good work in the first couple of weeks, but I feel like they just kind of lost what made them special somewhere along the way. They kind of lost that, the everybody, you know, everybody working together, that well-oiled machine factor, and part of that was just in their drafts that they started picking. It felt like it switched away from how it started, which was a lot of sort of emphasis on the late game and a lot of source on big team fights and all that sort of thing, to more of just a sort of big initiator 3 and 4 protect 1 otherwise sort of strategy. And it never really was too clear, never seemed to click, and they seem to have some morale issues. You know, if there's one image in my mind that will forever be burned, if you ask me 2 years from now, name something that happened with this team, what I'm going to say is, oh, Iceman running away from the lone Night Stalker while he's got the BKB on as Ember Spirit. You know what I mean? That to me was the picture of Willow Twisted Fantasy this season. You know, I think underestimating themselves. I think these guys were the most chronic self-underestimators this season, perhaps. So, and you know, that all starts with, just to get right into the players, it all starts with Ramanolo. I don't know if Ramanolo was picking heroes for himself or having heroes picked for him. It's hard to say. I feel like the most common involuntarily having heroes picked for you role is going to be your 3.
Right.
But Ramanolo, he played a lot of Mars this season, and he did not play really a lick of anything else, which is very a lot of Legion, a lot of Mars and a lot of Legion. It's very sad. It's very tragic because I think he showed us some very interesting things when he was playing other 3s. So I'm gonna say to that is, speak up, man. Get that voice, get it loud, get it proud. I heard from an insider you barely even talk during the games. That has to change. Not as a 3, brother. You don't do that as 3. Speak loud, speak proud. When you want something, take it. Seize the day, right? If you want to be off these, the same old guy, day in, day out. If you want to get some more variety in your diet, you've shown us what you can do with that variety. Lean into it. Lean into your own strengths, and make sure make sure you either have the confidence in yourself or the confidence to say it. It's very important. I think if you personally had said, let me try the Pit Lord earlier. If you personally had said, let me try the Night Stalker earlier. If you personally had said, let me try this, that, or the other earlier, team probably would have made bracket, to be frank with you. Which is not to say it's all your fault, because again, like I said for Manifest Destiny, it's a two-way street. But definitely leading into more variety. And it's not an issue that is exclusive to Ramanolo would be good. I think Aramanolo has like, some good upside. I feel like if he gets a captain, that's going to draft well for him, and I don't think Luth necessarily did that, unfortunately. If he gets a captain, it's going to draft well for him. He could easily have a very, very solid guy.
It's
I
only a
feel like
player next season.
right, right. So he's got some upside. He just needs to find it in himself, and he needs some other people to kind of find it in him. But once he gets that upside up, you know, sky's the limit for the guy. Luth. Maybe the hardest person to talk about in the entire league. Kind of an enigma, him.
Right.
Doesn't seem to talk much outside of the Dota general chat, I noticed. Doesn't seem to, just kind of played a middle of the pack tier pause 1, it felt like, for the whole game. For the whole series. And it felt like, I don't know, it felt like it kind of started off at its strongest, basically. You know, the first few weeks, Luth was picking some really good heroes for himself, but as it went on, he just tried to maybe lean into the meta more than lean into his own strengths, and as a result, that was part of the decline. So, I think that's your little warning there. You know, cookie cutters make pretty boring cookies, right? You know, meta at the top level is meta at the top level for a very good reason. It's going to be different in the world of LD2L. Leaning more into your own strengths rather than the established strengths of the establishment above you, you could really get a lot more work done, I think. Again,
Right.
you know, change that out. Again, you could definitely see a bracket there. Hellscream. Another sort of undersung guy, and another guy, as I've heard, does not really turn on the old mic much, right? I never felt like he had that great of a connection with Ramanolo, to be honest with you. You know, his buddy's Iceman, right? His buddy's Iceman.
Yeah.
Never felt like he had a great connection to the Ramanolo there. Definitely one thing to go for in the next season. Try to find try to mix in a little bit more with that lane partner. Now, what your lane partner is getting picked does have something to do with that, but trying to make friends, trying to buddy up, trying to if you're gonna be four, you gotta be in tight with your three. If you're gonna be four, you gotta be watching movies together, okay? You gotta be playing other
yeah.
video games together. It's that sort of relationship. You gotta be close if you want to see true glory, and I don't feel like Hellscream was ever really there. He was there to be with Iceman, right? Just fine. He is your buddy. It's a good reason to be on this team. But it just felt like the potential never really got reached. And it felt like he never really had a starring moment here. He never got his moment to shine. Just always kind of felt like he was playing bass for old Willow Twisted Fantasy, even at their height. So,
Yep.
you know, he's definitely in the right spot. There's definitely some windows for him to learn, but I think the biggest thing for him here is lean into that three. Learn to love your three. Invoker, Iceman. Get that self-confidence back. Get that self-confidence back. That's the only thing I can almost say.
Yeah, because
to be
otherwise
Iceman.
he's really good. Like he's a
Right.
good mid player. He
a-
plays Invoker. Like one of the only people in this league who can.
Right.
He plays him well too. At that.
He's a good invoker. He's good on the spirits, right? Iceman is a guy with some talents, but I feel like when Willow started turning, you know, the no started turning down for them. I feel like when things started going bad, I feel like Iceman took it like it was him, like it was on his shoulders that everything was sort of falling apart.
Right.
But reality is, I don't really feel like that was the case. I don't really feel like it was there for him, right? I don't feel like it was on Iceman for the most part. You know, look yourself in the mirror, say, I can do this role, and get back into the swing of things. And you can certainly see, I think, some very, very good things, you know? You need to be in a world that's not collapsing around you, perhaps, to see your true self, but, you know, find it, find your confidence, get it back, and you definitely have a pretty dominant performance next season, I think. And finally, Trysoft.
Nah, just kidding. Alexa Jax.
Yeah, yeah. Finally, Alexa Jax. What to say about Alexa Jax? It's a tough one, to be honest with you. Because Alexa Jax, there's a lot of rumor about Alexa Jax in particular. And if that rumor is true, then I feel like what I'm about to say is going to be obvious. Let's pretend that all the locker room talk, which I've heard might not be the case. Let's say all the locker room talk is true, right? Alexa Jax, you gotta stop taking it out on your buddies, buddy. You gotta stop whipping them. Simple as. You know, as it says on the tooltip, you got 5 enemies already. More, not necessary, right? If that's the case, then certainly something to self-discipline on. Find other releases for that stress. Like the enemy team, that's a pretty good way to go about it.
Yeah, exactly.
If not, then there's definitely something to be said about comm efficiency anyway. Because even the not locker room talk still kind of has, you know, sort of a lot of chatter on the radio and not necessarily a lot of direction. I feel like moving more towards sort of game-related discussion within the game itself could definitely do you some good. I don't know. Again, that's all rumor, that's all innuendo, that's all locker room talk, that's all horse
Could
manure.
all be complete nonsense.
It
So,
could be all complete nonsense, so...
disregard if untrue.
Yeah. Though I have a feeling on this specific issue it might be smoke, it might be a little fire. I don't know. Is there anything else to cover with Willow?
No, nothing I can think of.
Well, maybe one day we'll cover Doomed, I guess.
Potentially.
As they always say, if you or somebody you know wants to learn Dota 2 at a casual or more competitive level, ld2l.gg, where you want to be. It's too late to sign up for this season. Group stage is over already, for God's sake, but always looking for stand-ins. Might be a little less demand now, but you still definitely worth showing, definitely worth trying. I heard there's a team that might be getting a stand-in for the rest of the season, for example, coming soon. And yeah, that's about all we have to say here. So see you next time for a game that hopefully hasn't been spoiled for me.
As we lay these two teams to rest.
Yep. You know, at the very least, Gotham went out on a high note. At least he didn't go out with that black hole.
Yeah, that's true.